All right, listen up. Let's talk about failure. The one thing nobody wants to deal with, yet the one thing that nobody can avoid. Everyone wants to talk about success, about winning, about crushing it. But here's the reality. You don't learn jack shit from winning. You learn from losing. You learn from those moments when you're flat on your face or on your back for that matter, wondering what the hell just happened. The times you feel like an idiot, like you screwed up so bad that there's no way out. That's where the gold is, man. That's where the lessons are. People are scared of failure, but they really shouldn't be. You know what failure really is? It's feedback. It's God, Allah, the universe, life, whatever you want to call it, telling you, hey, it didn't work. Find out why. And it's even giving you the tools to do your research, to try again and to get it right the next time. But most people, they see failure and they run. They think failure is the end when it's actually the beginning of something much bigger. So let me tell you something. Failure strips you down. It exposes everything. Your ego, your insecurities, your weaknesses. Everything gets thrown out in the open when you fail. And that's where the real growth happens. Because you can't build something strong without first tearing down what's weak. You can't become resilient if you've never been broken. You can't find your strength if you've never been tested. But here's the thing, and this is where people mess up. They see failure as a personal attack, like it's this thing that defines them. I failed, so I'm a failure. That's the mindset that kills progress, brother. No, you failed because that's part of the process. It's not who you are. It's what you went through, and it's what's going to teach you everything you need to know to level up. You want to know who's dangerous? Not the guy who's never failed. The guy who's failed so many times, he's learned to laugh at it. That's a dangerous guy. The guy who's fallen, picked himself up, and kept going so many damn times that failure doesn't even face him anymore. Now that's the dude who's unstoppable. Why? Because he knows failure isn't fatal. He knows failure is just another step on the way to success. Let me tell you a funny and kind of sad but personal story. If you know me, you know I've been training Krav Maga for close to 20 years now. You know, Krav Maga, Israeli military self-defense and street fighting. When I first started, I was not a fighter. That's exactly why I wanted to learn Krav Maga, because I wanted to be able to defend myself. And as most normal human being, I hated the idea of having to fight. Hell, I hated the idea of getting punched in the face. And let's be real, nobody likes getting punched in the face. Those first, let's say, few hundred times at training, every punch that landed on my face was not just painful, traumatic, but also humiliating, frustrating, and honestly scary. But after a while, I got used to it. As a matter of fact, I got so used to it that I stopped seeing it as a failure. It was just part of the training and fighting process. Getting punched wasn't something to fear, it was something to adapt to. And with time, I learned how to move my head away from the punch. And even when I couldn't, I learned to angle my head so their fist hit the hardest part of my skull, my forehead. So punching me didn't hurt me anymore, it hurt them. Thankfully, I only had to use Krav Maga 3 times during my 2 decades of Krav Maga practicing. And one of those times was during a New Year's Eve in a crowded square. I was there with my girlfriend, holding her hand, watching some fireworks. But some drunk guy decided he wanted to start something with me. He came up to me, started talking trash, and I saw him slowly angle himself like he was getting ready to swing at me. Now, I could see he must have been a hobby fighter at best. Not that I was a professional one, but I could tell he was not a real threat to me or my girlfriend. And I only hoped it didn't come to having to engage with him because I could have hurt the guy real bad. Because, Krav Maga is not a sport. It's military. It's self-defense. You don't do it for points. There are no competitions. There are no opponents for that matter. There are only enemies and situations that you need to survive by running away, or if you can't, then by eliminating the threat. It's about maximum destruction in the shortest amount of time. So anyways, maybe it was the alcohol, maybe it was the fireworks, but the guy threw a punch. And you know what I did? I only dug my head just right. And the idiot broke his fist on my forehead. I didn't have to throw a punch. I didn't have to fight back. I walked away peacefully while he was left clutching his fist, which swelled up like a bowling ball. And you know what? I was laughing. And of course, I felt sorry for his ass, but I was laughing. And not because I wanted to humiliate him, but because it wasn't a big deal to me. I'd been punched in the face so many times, it wasn't even a shock. I knew exactly how to handle it. And I won by not even fighting. That's what happens when you get so comfortable with failure, when it stops being traumatic and you learn to use it to your advantage. And look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Failure sucks. It's really painful sometimes. It's humiliating. It feels like you've been just kicked in the gut by life, or better yet, got punched in the fist by someone's forehead. Failure sucks. Well, let me ask you this. Who taught you to be scared of pain? Who taught you to avoid discomfort? Because the more you avoid it, the weaker you get. The more you shy away from failure, the less you learn. And the less you grow. Pain is temporary, but the lessons you pull from that pain, that's what sticks with you. So when you fail, and you will fail, because everyone does, you got two choices. You can either sit there feeling sorry for yourself, or you can ask yourself the hard question, what can I learn from this? Because if you don't learn from it, then you're just going to fail again and again and again, endlessly. But if you do learn from it, you become smarter, sharper, tougher. And I'll tell you another story without giving away too many details. There was a time when I thought I had everything figured out. I was riding high, crushing it in life, and I thought nothing could bring me down. But then life, bam, hit me hard. I made some bad decisions, trusted the wrong people, and boom, everything came crashing down. And of course, at first I was pissed. I was angry at the world, angry at myself. But then I realized something. This failure was the best thing that could have happened to me, because it forced me to take a hard look at myself, to figure out what went wrong and how to build myself back up. And guess what? I came back stronger, smarter, and more focused than ever. You see, the thing about failure is it doesn't just teach you about the situation, it teaches you about yourself. It shows you who you are when things don't go your way. Are you the kind of person who gives up when it gets tough? Or are you the kind of person who gets back up, dusts himself up, and keeps going? Because that's the real question and that's the real test. Because life isn't about how many times you succeed. It's about how many times you can take a punch, fail, and get moving forward. And let's be real. Success isn't this straight line. It's a messy, twisted, squiggly road filled with setbacks, wrong turns, fuck-ups, failures. Anyone who tells you they got it all right the first time is either lying or delusional. The most successful people, boy, they failed more times than they can count. But the reason they're successful is because they didn't let those failures stop them. They used those failures as stepping stones. Every time they fell, they learned something from it, adjusted their approach, and moved forward. You've got to be willing to fail forward, or better yet, fail upward. That's the key. Don't just fail and then give up. Fail, learn, adapt, and then try again. Because here's the thing, every failure brings you one step closer to success. It's like you're chiseling away a block of stone, and every failure takes off a unnecessary piece of stone until you're left with the masterpiece underneath. I think actually these are originally Michelangelo's thoughts, that every block of stone has a statue in it, and the sculptor's task is to remove the unnecessary stone from around the masterpiece. But anyways, you fail, you get scars, and these scars from your failures, they're your badges of honor. They show that you had the guts to try. You know how many people don't even try? You had the guts to try. You had the strength to fail and the resilience to come back. Now, those scars aren't something to be ashamed of. They're a testament to the battles you fought and the lessons you've learned. And here's what I want you to take away from this. Fail as often as you need to. Don't be afraid of it. Don't run from it. Embrace it. Because every time you fail, you're getting closer to the version of yourself that can handle success. Failure is your teacher, the greatest one you'll ever have. It's not here to break you. It's here to shape you. And the next time you're staring down a failure, don't ask, why me? Oh, why? Rather ask, what can I learn from this? And once you've learned the lesson, take that knowledge and apply it. Fail again if you have to, and learn again. Because that's how you win. That's how you grow. And that's how you become unstoppable. So go out there, make mistakes, fail big, and learn from every single one of them. That's how you'll turn your failures into the foundation of your success. One step at a time, one lesson at a time. And remember, your biggest failures are your greatest teachers.